Everybody's Durgertime. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling 2016 AEW. I had another episode of this lined up, and something funky happened to the microphones, and I think I had a setting all weird. Something really weird happened. So long story short, instead of even bothering with trying to dub over it, I'm just going to treat that show as a house show. Nothing really happened anyways. And we're going to go through and basically not necessarily redo it, but just kind of really fine tune it. There were some story adjustments I wanted to do anyway, so that kind of works out. So we are a week later than what we normally was originally, but it just pretend that the other dynamite didn't happen. Don't even worry about it. So things I want to talk about before we get started. I do want to address some things that basically we added some extra people to the roster, and I added just a few hires, and they're mainly younger guys. The one big thing I did is I actually added Enzo and Big Casts, and I just thought it would be a good addition to try to up our ratings when it comes to the tag team scene. Now, there's some problems with that. Namely, there is drug issues with Big Cass, especially, that we'll have to deal with, and there's personality issues that we'll have to deal with Enzo. But that's what kind of makes it a little fun, right? And you know, hey, I really want to see them have a redemption arc. I think the wrestling community turned on them in a way that is inappropriate. I think that they had a great initial run, and they kind of phased out, and that's mostly because of bad booking, and a little bit of personality and backstage drama that actually honestly sounds a little bit nebulous. It doesn't really sound like a lot of what people think actually happened. So I'm willing in my game world to give them a second chance, and they have some pretty decent stats, not amazing, but decent popularity. Great charisma. Well, not here. Great menace for Cass, which is what we want. And obviously Enzo is going to be fantastic on the microphone. We changed him to Big Kaz instead of Kaz XL to try to kind of keep that idea that they're not allowed to use their real names, and then Enzo instead of Enzo. So Enzo Amore. Yeah, I mean, the popularity is 45. It's not too bad. I mean, Enzo's I think they're both considered main eventers here. So adding them to our main event scene is going to be huge, especially for our tag team division. There's some other people that we signed, mostly younger guys, because I'm still not sure what I want to do with the idea of Lightning. We talked about doing an extra hour of TV. I don't know if I think we should do that. I think it might be better to make a development company. In which case we could send some of these guys. So send Austin Gunn, maybe even send Luchasaurus, send Nyla down maybe, and try to build some skill set for them. Because there's a lot of the lower wrestlers that are really lacking, sometimes in just popularity, but other times just in skill set. Sunny Kiss, we could probably use sending them down. And the fact that they're young lions means that we're going to get a big boost. So I added some people that I thought would be either good lower card, or if we decide to do developmental, they would be good for that. Or the other option is we do just run another brand, and that brand is almost all of our youngsters. I'm going to defer it upon you guys. Let me know what you think would be better. Looking at it, the investment for a territory would not be horrendous. I would probably do large scale, small, which gives us it depends on what we would want to do. If we did low level regional, it would cost $2 million, which I think is too low. And I honestly think for us being cult, I think a large level small company would probably be the best for us. And then we could use that to let them build their own skill sets and also get popularity while not necessarily affecting our show. And that also will help the looming issue of quality control, because we do have a pretty significant issue when it comes to what our broadcaster wants, which is honestly kind of ridiculous. Where are we at here? For Dynamite, so TNT wants a B minus 75 every show. TSN wants a 74. Honestly, a 75 with where are we at in terms of popularity? I mean, that's asking a lot, because your skill set not necessarily is tied to it, but you can't necessarily just go and put on an A show at a cult, right? You're kind of locked into roughly your importance rating. I just don't think we're going to do it, which means we're going to lose TNT eventually. Eventually, they're just going to say, nah. But by grooming some of that roster down and bring them to a developmental league, that would probably allow us to focus more on the top tier talent, or if we hire additional people, separate them. And while we're developing other people, not take a penalty so that we don't, lose that TNT contract, which is my main concern right now. Now, the other advantage, though, on the other hand, I grabbed Brian Pillman Jr. also as another young lion. I kind of scouted out some Major League Wrestling guys based on, because I'm kind of role playing AEW here. That's been kind of their scouting ground. So I took some people that I thought would be good young lions that we could use to either groom on a developmental show or put them on a secondary A show with lesser importance, and maybe only run it on a different channel and not TNT, right? Or at a different time. Because that's the other thing, is we don't know. I don't know what TNT would negotiate for. New deal. So I did set up a Lightning show just in case. I feel a company your size cannot really support 3 TV shows at once. Well, this might be true. Might not be a lie. Let's see what TSN would say. So that kind of cements it for me then. I think we're going to set up a developmental league. I think we're just going to do it. And then what we'll do is we'll give them Lightning, and we'll let them run the Lightning Championship and the Lightning channel down there. And that will give us some ability to move some people off the roster and move people back up when we want to, move people down for training and development, and just overall allow us to rotate that roster, because it is kind of a heavy roster. What are we looking at here? We're looking at 74 people. Our minimum is 26, so we are a little over. A little over. I mean, obviously we don't have a maximum, but you don't need to be down here, especially if you're making money. But there always is an issue in terms of making sure everybody is on the show, especially for big events, because there can be more morale issues if they expect to be on a show. So that definitely is an issue. We also picked up Brodie Lee. I think I talked about that in the last show. Not sure what I want to do with him yet, but he's not going to be the Exalted One, obviously, because we have Matt Hardy being the Exalted One. I just really didn't want him to be in another cult gimmick. I think that's kind of a mistake to do that. I think we're going to do a kind of chip on his shoulder storyline, and I think that's going to lead into maybe another additional hire. One of the things I also did is obviously the big news this week is WWE let out a lot of people, and while we don't have the real events going on in the game, because that would be psychotic, though it is doable. We could put a huge economic hurdle in us and put the plague in. It would be interesting to sim. I mean, yeah, I might actually do that. That might be kind of interesting. I did let everybody off of their contract. So tomorrow in the sim, everybody will expire. If WWE wants to rehire them, they can. And right now, the one I was thinking of picking up is EC3. Horribly underutilized in WWE. Fit right in at AEW. And I'm actually thinking of having him align with Brodie Lee. And it's going to be a really weird story, but I think the general idea I'm going to have, and we'll see how it unfolds, is that Brodie Lee has a chip on his shoulder. And coming to this company, he's going to probably target Cody. Because Cody represents something that he's not. Cody is a legacy, and Brodie made everything to scratch and failed, right? That in the twilight of his careers, he never accomplished what he truly wanted to, despite his ability and his skills being better than everybody else. And a younger Cody who maybe isn't as talented in his mind as he is, was gifted everything by being sort of the right guy, with the right legacy and the connections in the company that they had come from. And Brodie Lee is looking to disrupt Cody's business and show him to be the fraud that he is, and maybe bring in EC3 as sort of a money guy to try to disrupt the Elite's hold in the creative process. So it's going to be kind of a meta story, but I thought it would be more interesting than just like, oh, here's Brodie Lee and he's a cult leader now. He went from cult member to cult leader. Okay. I don't know. I don't find it that interesting, personally. Matt Hardy, I mean, the Dark Order is whatever, but I think Matt Hardy as the leader, as the Exalted One, makes a little bit more sense and is a little bit more interesting and has some other directions it can go. And we're going to start, obviously, moving the Dark Order into a different direction. So I give you guys a little bit more inside baseball than I kind of wanted, but that's kind of how it is. I'm going to leave doing the development for another episode. So I will give you guys a chance to kind of put your input in on what the company should be called, which would be a big deal. The idea of the Forge is kind of a cool name. It kind of fits with the industrial nature of like dynamite and stuff like that. But let me know what you guys think, and also let me know what size you think it should be. I think large scale small, or large level small is probably the right way to go. It's not too expensive. It's about 1/10 of our total bank in terms of what we have in liquid capital. Not the end of the world to lose. Certainly could be a good investment, and then we could offload some people and bring them in. I think that might be a good idea. So let me know. That's kind of your homework for the next episode. All right. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and let's go over to Dark. And there was an injury from the last episode you guys didn't see, unfortunately. Where is it? Medical. Riho. It's 19 days. She got a inflamed subscapularis, whatever that is. Not too bad. We gave Nick a vacation. He'll be back in 3 days. And then we'll continue and start our storylines. Like I said, we really didn't do much in the last episode, honestly. And I this is kind of an opportunity for me to improve it anyways. So I kind of want to take it. Let's go ahead and let's get to Dark and move on from there. Okay, and we can see some of the movings on. Anderson gone, Primo, Zach, Epco, Rowan, Rusev, Gallows, Eric Young, Drake Maverick, Lance Storm, EC3, Kurt Angle. Might have missed some, actually. They released so many people, I kind of forget who. Oh, but don't worry, they got Cesar Bononi, whatever. He's probably going to be gone soon anyways. So there's definitely options. Like I said, I don't want to go into a hiring spree. I'm more interested in who we have now. But there are a few. Like Rusev could be interesting. It might not be a bad idea. A Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson tag team. We could always use more tag teams. But honestly, I feel like I'd rather see them just go off to New Japan. It's an option though. And there's definitely things we could do, but we don't need to go and just grab everybody, just because we need them. Though, I mean, on the other hand, the popularity element could be very helpful. I mean, Rusev's a 69 popularity. That's huge for us. It's number 49 on a Power 500. Great brawler, great charisma, star quality. So definitely would be, a big get. Definitely someone to shortlist. Could hire. I wouldn't hate it. Let me know what you guys think. Zack Ryder. I don't know. I feel like Zack Ryder's popularity was after me, and honestly, he's not that popular. He would probably be an upper mid card or a main eventer on our show, but I don't know if there's anything I really need from him. In terms of versus a Rusev, that there's some potential there. How much do you cost? Not that much. Overall, would be a larger contract in terms of written contract, but not immensely higher than what we're doing. Chris Jericho's at 25, Moxley's at 21, Kenny's at 17. Be about equivalent to Pac, or Matt Hardy. Not necessarily a outrageous price point. His popularity might actually be better than Kenny's. Not far off. It could be a good get, honestly. You have to think about it. In the meantime, we just have to move in. I also realized we didn't have Taz on the roster. Also, I'm grabbing Brian Cage. It's another one of the names I wanted out on the indies that the discussion on it live when we were playing the NWA save, I kind of realized that I kind of wanted to bring him into the fold. Thought it could be valuable. All right, we still have a few more days to go. Let's keep on going, and hopefully we can grab EC3 in as well. All right. Complaints. Yeah. Okay. We'll take a look at your pushes. Jesus Christ. All right. Everybody's in. Just auto push everybody. It's fine. EC3 is probably main eventer. Yeah, it's not shocking. Popularity, it's actually not bad. Ain't too shabby. Will be helpful for us. Where did everybody else fall on the roster there? Anybody new? Everybody just moved up a little bit. It's kind of sad to see Brian Pillman Jr. as enhancement talent. But like I said, I pulled them into Brandon Cutler. A little bit of momentum. Gave him a win. Moving up to lower mid-carder. Doesn't take much for all you that are playing at home. You'd be shocked at how little it takes to move somebody up a roster. Just give them a couple bookings and give them a right angle, and it'll work. And I guess we'll play to that now. We'll do AEW Dark. One of my goals actually is to continue to improve Brandon Cutler's area here. Don't know why, really. In terms of skill set, he's not great. Honestly, probably lower mid-carder is about where I would want him to be. But we can always kind of slowly move him up a little bit, and maybe even get him resting at a mid-card. It could be kind of fun to see how far we can get him up. Be kind of curious to see where it goes for that. And obviously he's got his gimmick of now being part of the Dark Order after the betrayal that we have to play into a little bit and see how that plays in with the splitting of the Elite. which can be kind of fun. All right, let's go ahead and let us. Oh, that's right. Let's see where Peter Avalon fell in. Peter Avalon probably now is opener. Lower mid Carter, even he moved up. Well, good for him, I guess. Let's crush that momentum and bring him back down to enhancement talent. We do have a locker room incident. Brian Pillman was obnoxious and eventually beat up Diamond Dallas Page after a fight broke out between them. I'm just going to suspend him. Oh, we can't. Could just fire him. I'll fine him. And Matt Jackson and Helico. Matt Jackson was being a jerk backstage and eventually threw a punch at him in Helico. It was a bad move, though, as he got beaten up as a result. Well, it sounds like he kind of got what he deserved. Let's give him a stern warning. Get worse. Okay. So Matt Jackson's going to be an asshole now. Interesting. Have a bunch of people working elsewhere tonight. AAA, basically. Matt Hardy can't wrestle on a B show, which is fine. So, where do we want to be? Last time, Northwest, New England, March, Tri-State was for Blood and Guts, Southwest, March. Let's do Southwest. Get 930 fans, it'll be fine. Pick best venue. Perfect. Okay. So we'll go ahead and book it. Goals for Dark today. Good question. Probably trying to move. Why don't we give Jungle Boy something to do? Let's try to give him. He's got a minor positive face. Let's try to give him a little bit more popularity. And try to move his needle up a bit. So maybe we'll feed an enhancement talent to him. That'd be kind of fun. Other than that, we'll just kind of play around with it and give some people some wins that we think need it. Try to keep their momentum going. All right, let's book it. All right, let's go ahead and run Dark and see what we got. So, I'm going to give not Austin Gunn a win, but we're going to give him his debut, I suppose. Interesting, though. Jungle Boy and Austin Gunn have great chemistry. Good to know. So, Austin Gunn had a 34 and Jungle Boy had a 47. Jungle Boy wins, actually dominates in the match. I'm trying to give him a lot of momentum. It's just a quick 2 minutes by submission. Austin Gunn's just going to be a developmental talent, so it's fine. Afterwards, we have it's actually a better segment than I thought it was going to be. Jungle Boy goes to shake Gunn's hand to show respect, but gets attacked by Butcher and the Blade. Luchasaurus ends up making a save, but obviously Butcher and Blade seem to still be upset that he didn't get his mask. And Jungle Boy recovers, and Butcher and the Blade end up backing away from them. Got the crowd hotter. Let's maybe deal with Bunny's gimmick, unfortunately. We'll have to take a look at it. And we do start a new storyline involving Luchasaurus, which is Luchasaurus goes it alone. Because we're probably going to maybe not necessarily break up the tag team, but maybe not focus on them as much. Still going to fight, but I think we need to develop Luchasaurus separately, and I think, honestly, he might hold Jungle Boy back in what we want to do. So giving them time apart will be good in terms of both their momentums. And we can always bring them back. It's not going to be like a falling out. It's just going to be that Luchasaurus has some stuff to do, and Jungle Boy has some other stuff to do. So I think it'll work out okay. We have a four-way between Brie Presley, Britt Baker, Emi Sakurai, and Melanie Cruz. Is she still in AEW? I feel like I haven't seen her. They make the weirdest acquisitions where they just hire people and then just drop storylines and then just forget about wrestlers, which we will probably do. I'm probably just going to let her go. But she takes the pin here. The match is terrible, though. But we need to give Britt Baker a win. And she does that, though she seems off her game. Overall, not bad. So that's why I kind of want to continue to push for her. Everybody else is kind of where they're going to be, unfortunately. Brandy just gonna. Oh, she's probably still Melanie Cruz's um manager in this. I bet. Weird. I might bring back the Brandy Awesome Kong thing, but change it. I don't know. I don't didn't like what they did with it, but I liked the pairing. I thought worked well. We'll see. I don't know. I'm still working it out in my head, to be honest. Afterwards, we have a Brit just telling off the audience and healing it up. Again, it's not Dark is not really a storyline driven show, so I just kind of would give her more momentum, more popularity, kind of give her another segment, and we use her skill set to shine. We have the Von Erichs debut. I just want to see if they have any chemistry here. It doesn't look like they do. And we need to give Private Party a win. Another upstart that really could do well for us if we book them right, I think. And unfortunately, it's a subpar wrestling, a little heat. The Prep Party do defeat the Von Erichs in 5 minutes. Isaiah Cassidy ends up defeating Marshall by pinfall. Von Erichs will probably go into our developmental, but I want to capture them and then try to drive them up as sort of fodder for our lower card of tag teams. We have an interview. It could have gone better. With Sami Callihan, who hasn't really been talked to ever since he debuted at the side of Moxley. And Alex Marvez just kind of asks him, what's his agenda here, why he left where he left, what's his goals. And he says that kind of what you would expect, that his goals is to be champion. But, Moxley made the call to him, and they go really far back. They're blood brothers, and he has Moxley's back. Even though he is unleashed, he's not tied to anything here. He's not tied to any allegiances. He's going to be as aggressive as he can be to get what he needs to accomplish. And, brothers aside, he's going to do what needs to be done. But everybody else, watch it, because he will make examples if he needs to. So trying to give him a little bit of character direction in terms of what his goals are here. Is he just Moxley's lackey, or is he here for other things? And we get a hint that he is here for other things, and he will, he will do what he needs to do in order to get to where he wants to be. And Sami main events with Chima. It's not great. Actually, it's not bad. Sami had a 51, and Chima had a 48. Chima is probably someone I'm going to send down to developmental. Don't have a lot of story plans for him, but his experience might be helpful to train others, which will be nice. And Sami does defeat Chima in 12 minutes. Gives us a 47. Could have been better. It's a solid flat 50. It's nothing to really say one way or the other. It's about what we would expect from a Dark episode, especially with the lower end of the card. All right. What did the audience think? It's decent, though hardly spectacular. That's probably about right. Jackson is back and fully fit. Chima needs some time off. That's fine. We can totally do that. We have some drug test freeze. No big deal. Anything else going on here? No. Okay. Nobody signing up anywhere interesting, so don't have to worry about anyone getting scouted out, I guess. Be kind of curious to see where the crew that left WE end up going to. So I doubt right now anyone's going to hire them. The game is shockingly not that aggressive in hires sometimes, and other times it's ridiculous. I'm hoping that the company, the new game is a little bit better. Oh, I forgot to get rid of Heath Slater. Oh no, they did. They actually hired him back. And Aiden English I forgot to pull out. Interesting though that they pulled Heath back in. Well, there goes my plans of giving him tons of steroids and sending him back in a couple years. That seems to be the trend for the 3-man band. All right, we have a Dynamite. Let's go ahead and let's book it. and hopefully we come out with some story beats. We have a little bit of time before the next actual pay-per-view, which is Double or Nothing. Not that much time. We have about a month. So we don't have a lot of time to build, but we do have a decent amount. We have about 4 weeks exactly, which should be enough. We have some lingering storyline beats to go through, namely the Jon Moxley Chris Jericho storyline, which will probably be ending, and the Hangman Omega storyline, which is beginning here because we're splitting it off. But probably will have a conclusion at Double or Nothing. I'm not positive yet. Depends on how it goes. We'll have to see where that all lines up. Should be kind of interesting to see where that ends up actually going. All right, let's go ahead and let's go over and see what other fighting happens in the backstage. All right, nothing so far. That's good. We will medal, as always. Yeah, why not? Sure. No effect. That's surprising. All right, so we have to get a 75 to not have TNT absolutely rip us to pieces, right? So that's gonna be difficult. We might be able to. I don't know. It's possible. It seems very unlikely. So I'm gonna try this episode. I think Dynamite's really gonna be focused on trying to push that agenda and see if we actually can get 75. I don't know. I feel like we can probably get up to like a 72, maybe, but I don't really see us getting much higher. In which case our TNT contract's definitely going to be in jeopardy. So I'm going to try to really utilize the roster as carefully as I can, and really focus on some big names to see if we can really hammer it out and really almost not necessarily cheat, but really try to get as high of a rating as we can, just to see if it's even attainable, or if we have to brace to an inevitable collapse from our TNT contract, which I really don't want to see. All right, let's go ahead and let's book it. Let's see what we got. All right, let's see what we can come up with here with Dynamite. Some storyline beats that I have not gotten to yet. But I guess we will use the next Dynamite for that. We still have 4 to build up to, so we can kind of interlace them. Shouldn't be a big deal. So Chris Jericho gets on the microphone and he calls out Moxley. He says Moxley thinks that at Blood and Guts, he's proven something. He thinks that because he's viciously attacked my Inner Circle members one-on-one, that somehow it means I'm at a disadvantage at Double or Nothing. He couldn't be further from the truth. We've aligned not because we are weak and stronger in numbers, but because we are strong alone and dominant united. I don't need anybody else to beat you, John. There's a reason why for years the word goat was on my trunks, and it wasn't because I was a Sherpa or a livestock enthusiast. I am the best in the world at what I do, and that is facing people younger than me, stronger than me, maybe even smarter than me, and win. And I do it every single time. So here's a challenge this week, John. 3-on-3 elimination match. Bring whomever you want in the main event. We will see what the numbers game really means, which for you will be nothing at all. Gets the show off to a strong start, gets the crowd hotter, and we build up more heat to the Jon Moxley Chris Jericho feud. Rating's not bad. Afterwards, JR goes ahead and announces a AEW World Tag League. We kind of talked about maybe doing something, so I want to do a 16-team competition, starting all the way through to Double or Nothing, maybe even past it, honestly. It depends on how long it takes. So it'll be a new tournament title, and the teams will be scouted around to pick the future and the best tag teams in the world. And basically what they will do is there'll be 16 teams from all different companies that are available. So if there's anybody that you want to see in the competition, some of them will be AEW tag teams, other ones will be new outside tag teams. It'll give us the opportunity to see new talent, basically, and we'll move teams in to compete. It should be pretty fun, and it will start next week at AEW Dark. So it'll give Dark something. We can kind of book a lot of these tag matches on Dark to kind of build up the tournament bracket. All right, we knew the bad ratings were going to start somewhere. Hikari Shida versus Chris Statlander. It's a subpar wrestling match with a little heat. Hikari Shida defeats Chris Statlander in 11 minutes by pinfall. Yeah, it was a work the crowd match, but Jericho already got it hot, so it didn't really matter that much. Shida had a 46 and Statlander had a 35. It's not great. It's not bad either, but it's not going to get us 75 for our our TNT rating, that's for sure. This is a little bit better, though. Afterwards, Britt Baker comes out and starts running her mouth about Shida and starts taunting her from the stage, trying to goad Shida to come up to fight her, probably so she can like sucker attack her and give her like a sneak attack. Shida is more composed, though, and does not follow suit. It just merely bows to Chris Statlander and leaves opposite of the ring so that Britt Baker can't come in contact with her. Britt obviously is trying to goad her and try to gun for her title, and Shida seems to not really be responding. Got the crowd hotter, actually. Did it pretty well, and we start Shida's storyline for her defense. We debut Brodie Lee. It's an extremely short match and only a minute 34. She ends up defeating Michael Nakazawa with a running big boot. He gets an above average for badass gimmick. And it's fine. Brodie had a 68. Nakazawa had a 26. We're not going to see much, but we need to give him a quick momentum win. So we got to do a squash match. That's the one thing I wish the game had, is a way to do squash matches, because really it doesn't matter what the jobber's stats are. It just matters that he gets over. So penalizing this, like, it really should be a 68, because we really should just be working on Brodie's momentum, and the fact that Nakazawa is there is regardless. It's a minute match. Unfortunately, there's no way to really do that. I probably should stop booking that way, but it's just the way I know how to book. I don't know. Afterwards, Alex Marvez comes running to the ring to interview the new hire, Brodie Lee. He tries to interview him, ask him questions. Why are you here? What's going on? Can we talk to you for a second? We haven't had a chance to talk to you. Brodie just walks away silently and doesn't say anything. So kind of building up a little bit of mystery to Brodie, why he's here and his goals are unknown. Who he really is, other than independent wrestler, isn't really known, though we will probably find that out later. MJF comes out to the ring with Arn Anderson and the Revival, who we had a match with already, but hasn't really been a big kind of ado, like a big ordeal with it. And MJF seems to be formally introducing now #FTR. And he goes on and he starts talking on a microphone and says, I know all of you know I hate Cody Rhodes' guts. I hate the hypocrisy. I hate the lies. I hate the fake persona he's made to convince you all that he is some kind of righteous champion. And now he is just simply a coward politicking his way to success. But I have learned a lot from him and his elite. I've learned that you need great minds at your side, like Arn Anderson. I've learned to not rely on others for success, but to surround yourself with like-minded people to ensure each other's success. Well, me and Shawn Spears have done just that and been dominant doing it. But that's just not enough. The Elite, the Dark Order, the Inner Circle, all this bullshit of bad wrestlers propping themselves up with safety in numbers. Well, I'm the future of this company. Spears' legacy that won't be ignored. Now the time is for a new era. I've made a call, and with the help of Arn and Tully, we have officially settled on 2 new enforcers to help us take over the wrestling world. You know who they are, and you think you know them. But now you really will. So we start the New Horseman storyline. MJF officially bringing the Revival into the fold with Spears, seemingly forming a 4 Horseman style team with Spears, MJF, Dash, and Casey McKnight. Afterwards, FTR have a match with Best Friends with obviously MJF watching ringside, cheering him on. It's decent wrestling. Did not have much heat though, but FTR defeat Best Friends in 14 minutes. We get a Shatter Machine. Obviously, Dash and Casey McKnight show excellent chemistry. Got the crowd buzzing. Pretty good. Pretty great match, actually. We gain heat for our storyline. And afterwards, Shawn Spears comes out to help celebrate with FTR. And all 4 of them kind of mockingly go to the camera and do the 4 hand sign for the 4 Horsemen. It seems that Arn and Tully have been guiding these 2 to kind of find tag champions and kind of making this sort of old school heel stable to kind of try to run roughshod over everybody. It's kind of weird because I guess MJF would be the Ric Flair analog, and it's not really, doesn't really work. But you know, we have the technician, we have the mouth, and we have the enforcers, and I think it works pretty interesting. I think it's an interesting direction to go with MJF, and it gives Shawn Spears something to do too, which I think is important. So they both can kind of focus on, success individually, and then always have each other's backs. While working towards the same goals, kind of works out well. I think it's an interesting dynamic between all of them. Afterwards, we had the debut of Enzo and Big Casts. Enzo goes out on the microphone, says that AEW is the home of tag team wrestling, and they're the realest guys in the room. You know the shtick. They are kind of face here, so they're going to kind of ham it up on the mic and kind of do their thing. Enzo went off script and performed really well. Big Cass is getting better at his gimmick, and, he's just the menacing guy behind him. He should work well. It'll give us high scores, and their matches should be pretty good. So I think overall, as long as we can manage their personality issues, I think they'll fit in just fine. And they have a match. It's a triple tag team elimination match, and it's between the Young Bucks with Nick now back, kind of giving him an opportunity. Enzo and Cass, and then the SCU counterparts. Match is pretty good. Enzo and Cass actually defeat the Young Bucks and SCU in 12 minutes. SCU are first eliminated, and then the Young Bucks are actually eliminated. Great chemistry all around. Pretty good. Enzo had a 49, which is not great. Big Cass had a 47. Obviously, Nick and Jack are much better. But honestly, if you look at in terms of popularity, you got a guy who can really go great on the mic, has great muscle behind him, puts on a decent performance. Not, he's not as good as Christopher Daniels, but they're not far off from Frankie Kazarian. They're better than Scorpio Sky, so they'll fit right in sort of the upper mid card for the tag team, I think at least. But we give them a big win against the Young Bucks, give them some credibility once they show right up. And I think overall that'll give them a good momentum boost, and we'll kind of see where they level out. I bet they probably level out around 55 in terms of in-ring performance. And you put them in the right spot, in the right caliber, I think they'll be A-okay. We have a video playing just saying the main event for Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho coming up with their 3-on-3 elimination match. And we start the match. Switchblade Conspiracy, obviously, Jon Moxley picked Sami Callihan, and he brings Darby Allin into the fold, who obviously has some beef with Sami. And Chris Jericho brings Jake Hager. It's a good match, decent reaction from the crowd. The Inner Circle do win. They defeat Darby Allin's Switchblade with elimination. Sami was first eliminated, then Sami, then Darby, then Jake Hager, and finally going one-on-one with Chris Jericho. Jericho proving that he does not need the numbers to defeat Jon Moxley, and he does pin him. They looked great. I mean, not much to say about it. It was pretty good. And we actually lose a little bit of heat from both of their storylines, though. Jon Moxley's improving in technical, which is interesting, I suppose. Finally, the match isn't quite over. Jon Moxley and Jericho end up just fighting post-match and actually just brawling all the way to the backstage. Kind of Jon Moxley gets a little bit of revenge there, and we don't quite see the conclusion other than they're just brawling all the way to the parking lot. Ends the show. Yeah, 73. That's what I said. Like, even with the best I can do, which, I mean, I guess we could have, we might be able to get to 75, but we would basically have to it would be hard, really hard, if this is what we're putting on, which I think is a pretty good show, and we're still not meeting our goal. We're going to lose TNT. It's just how it's going to be. Real unfortunate, but I don't see any way around it. It's really bumming me out. Oh well, we'll have to deal with it. Maybe we'll go to USA. I don't know. We'll look at something, but we're not long for this world for the TNT contract. Feedback has been great, drawn a lot of praise, but still doesn't seem to matter. Incident involving Colin Cassidy. Is it probably a drug test? Identifies a hard drug user. We'll just fine him each time. You're unhappy. Well, stop taking drugs. TNT's unhappy. Yeah, I know. I don't know what you want from me. Sami Callihan just doesn't get it, man. Everyone's ganging up on Sami. So we are going to have an issue with Big Casts here with the drug use. We could send him to rehab. I'm not going to send him to rehab. We just got him. You're annoyed. Why are you annoyed? You're handling an incident. Well, you'll live. Calm down. We knew this would be a problem, but I think it's worth the risk just to bring strong hands in. It's something. Maybe we'll send him to rehab and try to get him to square out. Maybe he'll be fine. All right, guys. That's it from me. We've gone long here. I think it's a good show, though. I think we did the best we can. Let me know, though, about our investment. So, homework, twofold. One, what tag teams do you think should be in our 16-man World Tag League Cup? Could be tag teams anywhere as long as they are available for us to hire per appearance. It'll give us a nice opportunity to get fresh faces and interesting dynamics and see who we might be able to scout in the future. So think places that have a lot of PPAs and stuff like that. And obviously for the investment, what are we calling our developmental league that we're going to build? What size should it be? I think we have the size for small probably is right, but if you guys have other ideas, I would love to hear it. And obviously, what is the name going to be? How we're going to run it? We'll probably set that up in the next episode. Other than that, that is it for tonight. Thank you guys. I will see you next time.